recording. It's warm.
I'm going to turn on my air. I'll be back in 1 second.
You do that. I wish I had like a little.
Hot here, dude.
You got 6 minutes before you start. You want to start your...
Admit all. It's like drunk with power.
Go. So very quiet.
My Zoom says I'm connecting to audio, so I'm not sure if anybody can hear me, and I can't hear anyone else.
We can hear you. In your sound.
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, everyone. I'm going to get started. I want to put you on gallery so I can look at everyone. Oh, there you are. Oh, I'm nervous and excited. Hi. My name is Laurie Shiers, and I've been part of Rich's community for a few years now. I'm on the source team for the RLI and the anchor team for the RLI and the source team for 4PC. And one of the things I love most about this community is the community. This is why I came here. It's to find my people. And I feel such a heart connection with everyone I meet in this community, and feel lucky to have finally found my people, and witnessing your transformation and your growth throughout the 4 or 5 days that we've already had together is so impactful and beautiful. And thank you for joining me today on this piece of the journey that's my piece of the journey. My background is as a creator. I'm a creator. I've been a creator and a creative my entire career. I've worked for years in advertising as a copywriter and now as an author. But long before that, back in the day, I was a very, very prolific journal writer. And I remember receiving my first, like the big important journal that I got. I was 10 years old. And my mother came home and she gave me this brown hardback book with flowers on it and lines on the page. And I was like lit on fire. I felt like, oh my God, I could fill this thing with my stories, with my ideas, with anything I wanted. And that became like the beginning of a lifelong practice of journal writing and expressing my thoughts in this way. I feel like, honestly, it saved my life. And it's really one of the most powerful self-coaching tools.
Wait a minute, did everybody lose audio on Laurie or just me? Who can hear Laurie?
Can you hear me?
I can still hear her.
We can hear you. We're good.
We can hear. It's good.
Okay, fantastic. So yes, I would love to know, first of all, from everyone here, and you can type it in the chat box, are you a journaler? Is this something that you do regularly? Yes, no, yes, no. Daily. Awesome. So some yes, some no. I'm curious about those who know, those who are yeses, and we can speak now, like those who are yeses, what is it like for you? What do you get from it? And anybody who wants to raise their hand, I will unmute you. Or you can unmute yourself actually and just speak. Ernest.
Oh, You know what? When you mentioned you got that first journal, I remember when I bought my first fancy moleskin, I was afraid to write anything in it. So I never wrote anything in it for like months
Uh-huh.
because I felt it had to be worthy of it. But the way that I use it right now is a lot of, for me, it's processing. So I'll write a question to myself and I'll answer it, and a question and answer it. Or if an idea comes up, so it's a lot of external processing. Because otherwise, if it's in here, it becomes very jumbled up and a lot of time gets wasted.
Yes, I can relate. Great. Anyone else? Let's see, Kate. You're on mute, Kate.
There we go. Hi there.
Hi.
For me, it really was became, because I journal daily, but it became an exercise in just letting what's inside me flow out, and not to be critical of it, not to assess it, but really just to have it leave and be on a piece of paper, and then sometimes look at it later or learn from it in that way.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Sandra.
Yeah, for me, I'm a bit patchy with it. I go through phases when I journal a lot and then I sort of skip it for a while. But I keep them all and I love to reread them because it just shows me a piece of my history and the growth that I've gone through and the struggles and all that. So it puts everything in nice perspective and also reminds me of things I had long forgotten, but then it's popped back up. So I love rereading them.
Yeah, that's great. I would love to hear from a couple people who don't journal and hear about what's the stoppage. Who does not journal and wants to share why? Just unmute yourself. Elaine.
So I used to journal and I don't because of time, like it when I hit a certain number of kids, right? And it stopped. I write a lot and I blog, but I don't have the daily practice anymore. Now it's like, okay, when I've got to write, I pull back and I seclude and I write.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I mean, I think for a lot of people, actually journaling is a little bit like, exercising or meditating or eating your vegetables. We know we're supposed to. We probably tell our clients and our friends and our loved ones to do it, and we don't always do it. And that's okay. I mean, that's part of what we're here to explore right now. So I want to share with you, I'm nervous. I want to share with you my impossible goal. And my impossible goal is to get 100,000 change makers hooked on, excited about, revved up to practice journal writing so that they'll share it, so that you'll share it with your tribe, and so that people can get to know and love themselves even more and really understand themselves. If you don't have a pen and paper, please grab one. We're going to get started with some practices soon. But before we do that, I just want to give you a little bit of context around why journaling is so powerful for all of us. There's all kinds of great reasons. For me, like growing up, I was the littlest and youngest kid on the block. I was the only Jew, and I had like a block of mean-ass kids. They were not nice. And when they were not bullying me, which they were a lot, they were ostracizing me. And I didn't have anyone to play with, really, who I loved and trusted. And so I went back to that little brown book with the white flowers, and I wrote. And I wrote, and I put the feelings that I had in a place that felt like it was a safe environment. And that's really, I think, how I found my voice as a writer, and how I really relieved the stress I was feeling. And it's interesting now, all grown up and still journal writing, that all of the science has caught up to what the little girl in me had spent years and years doing. It's been proven that regular journal writing reduces stress. Writing about anger and sadness or any other painful emotions releases the intensity of those feelings. And what's incredible is that it's not just psychological, it's actually physiological. Expressive writing has a direct impact on your body's ability to withstand stress and fight off infection and disease. And what's also incredible and cool is that journaling actually, it frees up your cognitive resources. So you can put your worries down on the page and then move on to focus on what you really want to give your attention. Regular journal writing can also, many of you probably know this, help you capture inspiration. And there are so many famous journal writers. Leonardo da Vinci is one great example. Not only did he write, but he put sketches in his journal. Frida Kahlo, she sketched and painted and wrote. Thomas Edison, he created something he called his private idea book, which I think in part was about him protecting his ideas and proving that he came up with them before anyone else did. But it was also a way for him to process and create. And those of you who were in Rich's session on Sunday heard Rich talk about journaling your vision. Journaling your vision every day for a year, I think is what he suggested. And I love that. I love that because when you write something down, it's much more likely that it will come to fruition. And 42% more likely is the exact number. There's been research done around this showing that, the reasoning behind the reason that it works is because when you're dreaming and you're imagining, you're using the right side of your brain, the right hemisphere, right? You are just engaging that part of it. But when you think about it and you dream it and then you write it, you're engaging both sides of your brain. And it's a powerful way to tell every cell in your body that this is something important. This is something important to you, something that you really want to bring to life. And that if you want to maximize that percentage, even if it goes even higher, is if you tell someone who believes in you, like a coach, for example. But the reason that I came to journaling, and one of the most powerful reasons that I can find to keep one, is that it helps you know yourself. It helps you know who you are and understand how you think. It leads to deeper insights, more self-compassion. Knowing yourself better can lead to trusting yourself more. And it's the most powerful, intimate relationship that any of us really will ever have if we allow ourselves to go there. Journal writing is like whispering in your ear and listening at the same time. It's the only way you can do this. Joan Didion says, I write to know what I think. And I don't know if that resonates with any of you the way it does for me, but some of us process differently. I'm so much more comfortable on the page than I am anywhere else. That is where I can let it out. And in part, that is due to practice, which is what we're going to dive into right now. So there is a practice that I love to do kind of as a foundational practice. And many of you may have either heard of it or do some version of this now. It's called morning pages. And it was popularized by Julia Cameron in the 1980s in her book, The Artist's Way. And the way Julia Cameron describes it is doing 3 pages stream of, 3 pages stream of consciousness on pen on paper, not on the computer. It's something different happens when you're typing on a keyboard. So you want to do it longhand and you just go as you go. This is not in any way art. This is artifact, not art, right? We're just finding out who we are. So it's whatever's on your mind first thing in the morning. And if nothing's on your mind and if nothing is coming to your mind, you can just write and nothing's coming to mind. But the idea is you go until the 3 pages are filled. So what I would love for all of us to do now is let's take 5 minutes and do this practice. And know that this is not going to be read by anyone but you. If you don't feel like rereading it after today, you don't have to. It's nothing like that. It's just, like I said, it's to clear the gunk out and get your energy flowing and your engine running. So let's go for 5. About 30 more seconds. Okay, that's 5. Can someone share an observation that they made about this practice? 1 or 2 people, you can just take yourself off mute.
Yeah, I'd like to share.
Yeah.
Haven't been writing so creatively for a long time. It was just starting with it like bubble, not writing anything in particular. And then there was a noise in the background and I went distractions. And that led me to writing about the distractions in my life. Actually, that's something about the other brilliant session earlier today. But it just came without me thinking, and that's the beauty of it.
That's great. Yeah, that's beautiful.
I can share.
Please.
This is Chad. I wrote the word goosebumps because just by putting it on the page, it just kind of made me realize that everything's going amazing right now, right? While the world's falling apart for a lot of people, it's fallen in place for me lately. So fulfilled and goosebumps are the words that came to mind.
Beautiful.
Can I share?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. I wanted to share because I just missed a little bit of your instructions. For some odd reason, I zoned out. And so I wrote to myself and asked myself why that had happened. And it's quite revealing what I've written. I've answered my own question. It's great. What a powerful sister. I love it.
Wonderful. I'm curious if anyone experienced resistance around this.
I had resistance around handwriting. My brain is so much faster than my hands. And somebody in the chat is saying it helps them slow their thoughts down. It doesn't slow my thoughts down. It just frustrates me because once I've got a keyboard, I can get it out. And without a keyboard, I feel really stymied. But I get the value of it. It's just really frustrating.
Yeah. Someone in the chat had said slow down to speed up. And I feel that here. It's a practice. I know.
Laurie, can you explain the sort of the overwhelm to I need help to then going positive and then literally writing my vision board at the end?
Oh, is that what happened?
It was that. Can you explain that?
I don't think I can explain that. No.
It just took about from 180 degrees or from one extreme to the other, just as it sort of just flowed out.
This is part of that process. Is like I was saying before, the Joan Didion quote, I write to know what I think.
Right.
Half the time I will look back and go, what? I know, I mean, maybe more than half the time it's in there, but until we slow down, and get quiet enough, we don't access it.
Yeah, no, thank you for making us do this.
For sure. So there's a part 2 here that I'm going to walk you through and then ask that if you're called to it, that you do it after this call. The practice is to take a minute to look back at what you wrote and notice what stands out. And take your pen, maybe underline it or just mark it in some way as something that you'd like to revisit. And this is like, when you go back to it, it's like diving in under the surface, going underneath. So like Michael was sharing, these were his first thoughts and then he got to this deeper place. See if there's a little nugget in there that you'd want to further explore. And then take your timer and do 5 minutes again, or 10 minutes. but unearth it. Anyone have any questions about that? Great. So this is a practice that I ask my clients to do. And it's something that I do every day, this morning pages practice. Sometimes I'll go to the deeper place and sometimes I'll just get the gunk out. But it's a great way to just get your practice on. It will serve you in all kinds of other ways that, you know, are not expected. It'll serve you in the other kinds of writing that you do, because you'll start to develop a facility from your hand to your brain. What was the Brene Brown quote was great. It's writing moves what's in your head to your heart through your hands, and you'll develop a facility as you do this more and more. Okay, I have another one for us. You guys ready? Stretch a little, shake out your hands, do some more using of those hands in ways that we don't always. So I want you to call up something that's bugging you. It doesn't need to be the huge hallmark trauma of your life. It can be something that's present for you now that is causing you some irritation, some aggravation, just some kind of intense or irritating feelings. And now that you're a little warmed up, let's go back into the notebook and let's spend 10 minutes here. Let's spend 10 minutes just getting it out. It's the same way that you would just like do verbal vomit, whatever. It's letting it out. And again, it's not art, it's artifact. Any questions? Okay, let's start for 10 minutes. We have about 5 more minutes. If you're feeling done, sit with the feeling of being done and see if you can avoid the temptation of moving on to the next thing. One more minute. Okay, we're back. Now we'll have a chance to share, but not yet. For this moment, let's have everybody shake it off. Shake your hands and your legs, move your body. That's it. So research shows that putting all this on paper is super valuable. Getting all your angst and irritation is a gift in itself. But when you stop there, you're missing an incredible opportunity. And that is to bring your own wisdom to the situation that you just purged on the page. So I want to take a couple of minutes, not a couple of minutes, a couple of just deep, quiet, cleansing breaths together. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. And take in a nice deep in breath. And let it out. 2 more times, deep in. And exhale. 1 more deep inhale. And exhale out. So take a second here to tap into that wiser, deeper part of yourself. It can be the older you, it can be the coach you, it can be whatever you call the part of you that has the wisdom and the answers and knows the way. And we're going to take 10 more minutes and allow that wisdom to come through on the page. Don't think it, just write. Just like you did with the morning pages before. If you don't know what to say, write, I don't know what to say, and then watch what comes out. We'll go for 10 more minutes and then debrief. We're halfway there. If you feel done, see if there are any other little pearls of wisdom in there that you can find just by being quiet. All right, let's start wrapping it up. And put your pens down. Finish your last word or two. Yeah, everyone's moving. A lot of writing. So what was that like? I'd love to hear any insights, David, go ahead.
Hey, Laurie, thanks for this. I'm not sure what you just did to me, but I feel like I had a couple of like massively profound realizations in that writing.
Beautiful.
And I don't know if they're really as profound as I think they are right now. Probably have to wait till the morning to see. But I'm used to writing and figuring out things by writing when I need to. But nothing like this. This is really amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Zeb.
Yeah, I was surprised because when you gave us the first assignment and just told us to talk about or write about something that we were struggling with or an emotion that we were feeling, my usual process is to work it through it anyway. So I was going to say, well, what am I going to do for the next 10 minutes? Because I've already kind of processed it. And then I poked at it a little bit more, found something else that completely went even further. Even then, I thought that I sort of crystallized what I needed and just decided to write it over and over again, just to anchor it in my mind. And then after a few times, I've started adding to the sentence, and then so there were still little things to be found and to develop. So I thought that was really quite amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's funny how it's just like with idea generation, right? The first idea is generally not your best idea. You got to keep pushing on it and see what comes. And that's part of the slowing down. That's the gold. Anyone else want to share? I can't see everyone at once, so you can unmute yourself and just chat.
Laurie, I'll share.
Yes, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a profound exercise. Thank you. Really lovely. I found it very meditative. And what was interesting is that the second to last exercise for me, I started going into the wisdom sort of mode in that exercise. I think it was what you said earlier about whispering in your ear and listen to it at the same time. I just couldn't continue with a negative train of thought because the whole process was being slowed down for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really, really profound. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
Laurie, this is DTK.
Hey, DTK.
I don't write by hand. I don't. I can't even read my handwriting. And what I started to realize as I started going through this is it doesn't matter if I reread it. I was feeling blocked, and it was astounding what started to come out. I can't read it, but it was just having, it opened up the thoughts in a different way.
Great. That's great to hear. That's the idea. That's the idea, the name of the game for us and for our clients, right? It's just a new twist on how you usually think. Sharon, you had your hand up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, hi, this is David. And I didn't do it. I typed because I have to read what I said. I could not get that exercise that way, but I think I got some value using my typing. And the pearl of wisdom that I got at the very end was about gratitude. And I wrote, how grateful I am to remember to be grateful. Humility and gratitude. I'm great at gratitude, not so much at humility. And then I did what Seb did, was just write the same thing over and over again. Focus, gratitude, humility, focus, gratitude, humility, focus, gratitude, humility. And I just ended with that. So
it's like a
I
mantra.
still do it with a typewriter. It became, yes.
Yes. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon, I'd love to hear from you, and then I'm going to add a couple more little things into the mix.
Okay, this was awesome. I write every single day, but the additional rounds of prompts to go deeper and deeper and deeper was really freaking powerful. And I couldn't help but notice that my writing, my actual handwriting changed within every single round. So the first one was very like methodical, and I could read it and it was kind of calm. And then as we went a step deeper, it started to get more chaotic as like the thoughts just kept pouring out and I was making sense of my thoughts. My writing truly reflected that. And then on the third round, when we started to pull out the wisdom, my handwriting, which usually is like leans one way, was leaning the complete other direction.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't help but like think about what that means in terms of like what parts of our brain we're accessing for each of these different rounds. If it's really like coming out, not only the thoughts are coming out differently on the paper, but the actual writing itself just coming out radically different on each and every level. So thank you for that. That was awesome.
That's really cool. And it reminds me of a version of this exercise where you can do it for shorter periods of time, but taking the perspective of different people in the situation and writing them out. There's all kinds of ways that can serve us and our clients. So I wanted to answer Tootie's question about the morning pages, and then we'll move forward. But for the morning pages, I usually go for not time, but the 3 pages. And that doesn't take 5 minutes. In general, it'll take 15 or 20 minutes. And that's the way that I do that practice. And I find that if I have a crazy rushed morning and I only have 5 minutes, I just do 1. But the practice of being consistent it really serves me. And almost not a day goes by where that's a weird sentence, almost not a day goes by, but not a day goes by where I don't do at least a little bit of writing. So I wanted to share an idea, and then I can answer some questions, and then we'll end with a very, very brief practice. But I wanted to share that one of the ways that I use these practices with my clients is introducing them to these ideas, which you obviously can do as well. But one of the even more valuable tools that we can offer our clients is creating custom prompts for them. So listening to what's going on and either offering them something at the end of a session or even in between sessions. You know, Rich always talks about how the insights come in between the sessions so often. This is another tool that can bring that forth. And sometimes I'll have clients who want to share what they write, and sometimes they don't. I don't have any hard and fast way to do that. It's really about the person who I'm talking to. So I want to scroll back up and capture some of these questions, and then we can also just chat through these next few minutes too. Garrison, actually, would you come on and ask the question that you asked? I think you had a couple.
Hey, Laurie. I can't use my camera right now, but I'll do some audio. So my first question was, hold on, I got it, I'm getting it back. It was, first of all, for you, I'm curious to know how, from the time when you started this, which I assume was years ago, till now, how has your morning pages evolved? That's the first question.
They really are, they haven't evolved to become a thing. Like I really use them as a tool to just, like I was saying earlier, like just get the gunk out. So often it's what's been rolling around in my brain. Sometimes it's a dream. Sometimes it's something that's bugging me. What's consistent is that it's always me doing it. And I can also go back and trace some thought patterns and behavior in there.
Okay.
But it has not evolved into like a high art or anything.
Okay. I just kind of thought like maybe your process just becomes more refined or accelerated or efficient over time.
Well, I will tell you what's become more and more efficient is I can tap in when I put the pen to the page. Now it doesn't take me 3 pages. I'm pretty quick to get where I want to be heading. And then I surprise myself too, but I can tap in pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks. And then my other question was, you know, what happens where you're like, or does it happen where you're like 15 days in and you're writing and thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm kind of getting bored by my own repetitiveness of these things that I keep saying over and over, and I'm just writing it over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the question becomes, how is that serving me, or how is that serving you? And it may have a function, you know, the function may be just like we were talking about, just to warm up, or you can shift it up, you can mix it up. There's also every opportunity to give yourself writing prompts that are more creative. my son is 12 and he's out of school like every other kid in the United States right now. And his classroom is not giving him enough to do. And so I'm giving him writing prompts, and some of them are reflective and, you know, about how he feels about his life or whatever. And some of them are creative, and I go back and forth and we talk about which ones he likes and which ones he doesn't. And we can do that with our clients too. You know, if there's somewhere they're stuck, there's no limit to how creative you get to be to help draw some other genius out of them.
Okay, thank you. Last thing I just want to say is that, you know, I get a sense from this practice that it's almost like making a groove in stone. Like the more we go over what our desires and visions and dreams are, the deeper we're making a groove in the stone, because where our attention goes, our energy flows.
Yes.
And the more we create that groove, the more our energy has a path to follow in terms of manifesting what we want. So that was kind of the sense I was getting from this.
Yep, I love that, Garrison. Right on. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question. So I wanted to
Oh.
introduce one more idea before we close at 2, and that is gratitude practice. And you have, I'm sure all of you are familiar. I think, David, were you talking about, you're doing the gratitude? David Block was talking about gratitude. And that's beautiful. That gratitude has huge benefits. There is physical and psychological health. There's increased happiness and life satisfaction when you express gratitude regularly. And doing it on the page, I think, is a profound and beautiful practice, because it's also a record of who you are and who you're becoming, and like Garrison was talking about, what you pay attention to. One of the little games I like to play with my gratitude practice is finding something new every day. I do that with my kiddo also, just what's new to be grateful for, and writing that down. And that is just a tiny little practice that you can do any day, anytime, even right before you go to bed. It's a great way to end the night. And it's a great way to help your clients. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time, or anxious. So it kind of resets our nervous system in a way when we start recognizing the beauty in our lives and all around us. Thank you all. We have 2 minutes. If there are any very quick last questions, I can answer them. And there is one. The 5-minute journal is great. If anybody wants to look up 5minutejournal.com, these guys who they followed Tim Ferriss and created their own source of passive income in this journal that asks you a few questions to answer in the morning and a few that you answer in the evening. And I think it's great. It's not the same kind of long form practice that we're exploring here, but it's a great tool. Okay, thank you all. You can find me on the app if you have any other questions, and I really appreciate your time, and this is wonderful for me, and I hope that you got something out of it too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Laurie.
everybody.
Thank you.
This is great. Appreciate
Bye,
all
guys.
the
Thank you, Laurie.
guidance. Always learn something new.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Laurie. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.